Tonight on CTV News at 11:30. A state of emergency has been declared after infrastructure fails in Kashesawan.
We're having issues bringing in water to the community because of weather conditions and where our planes are flying from.
Flights have already started and will continue over the coming days. Plus, the Timmins hospital says it's seeing a spike in influenza A.
The reason it's become challenging is a lot of patients coming in with influenza A are actually quite ill and they're being admitted to the hospital.
Some patients are reportedly so bad doctors are keeping them overnight. And all aboard the Northlander, soon that is.
The Northlander is more than a train. It's a lifeline to jobs, education, family and friends, and so much more.
Ontario Northland's new passenger trains have been revealed.
CTV News at 11:30 with Ian Campbell and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for staying up with us. We begin tonight with some new developments. CTV News has learned at least 6 senior managers at the city of Greater Sudbury have been dismissed. In a statement, the city says they're undergoing a period of organizational change and, quote, staffing decisions are being made to support the city's renewed strategic direction, adding this restructuring is intended to help accelerate the change, ensuring value for taxpayers. Well, the city said it could not discuss specific personnel matters. Sources have confirmed Kevin Folk, General Manager of Corporate Services, Deputy Fire Chief Jesse O'Shell, Melissa Roney, Deputy Chief of Paramedic Services, and David Shellstead, the Director of Engineering Services, were among the 6 let go. CTV News is following this developing story, and for more, head to ctvnewsnorthernontario.ca. We're learning more about that multi-vehicle crash in Sault Ste. Marie that we told you about last night. 4 people, including 2 young children, are in hospital with life-threatening injuries. The intersection of Black Road and 2nd Line East was closed around 7 last night. Police say a van traveling at a high rate of speed on Black Road struck an SUV head-on. Another vehicle was hit as a result of the first collision, and 3 more vehicles ended up in snowbanks trying to avoid the incident. A 23-year-old Gordon Township man is facing a charge of attempted murder following an incident with a gun on Manitoulin Wednesday. Provincial police were called to Emery Road and Highway 542 around 1:30 that morning. While no physical injuries were reported, police say they arrested the man. He's also facing charges of assault and breaking and entering. Kashesawan on the James Bay coast has declared a state of emergency after its aging infrastructure failed and is now working to evacuate. CTV's Angela Gamble has the latest.
2026 isn't starting off well for Kashesawan First Nation. Several infrastructure issues have led the leadership to declare a state of emergency.
People are just tired of not having access to clean water and having the inability to have health care.
On Sunday, the water treatment system failed, causing sewage to back up into homes and contaminate the water supply. That also caused flooding at the community's nursing station. The infrastructure is more than 30 years old and in need of upgrades. It's something they've been trying to address with the federal government.
It's an ongoing issue with these deficiencies. The government keep putting band-aid solutions on this water plant. Like I said, we want permanent solutions.
About 100 vulnerable residents have already been evacuated from the First Nation and flown to Timmins and Kashesawan. But due to the urgent public safety concerns, leadership has requested a full evacuation of all 2,200 residents.
We don't have any potable drinking water. We're having issues bringing in water to the community because of weather conditions and where our planes are flying from. So we have a whole list of issues, and it kind of necessitated the need for our community to evacuate.
And keep encouraging people to be strong out there. Be safe when they're evacuated.
Indigenous Services Canada says it's working closely with the community. It distributed some bottled water and sent specialized technicians to help repair the equipment. A spokesperson for Indigenous Services Canada says this is an evolving situation and we will continue to respond to all critical needs to support community members and leadership through this evacuation and to get people back home as soon as possible. It's unknown when the community will have a working water system again, and more evacuation flights are being planned in the coming days. Angela Gamble, CTV News, Sudbury.
And affected residents began arriving at Kashesawan tonight. These photos courtesy of Creemergency showing evacuees arriving and being shuttled to safe and clean accommodations. Creemergency is a First Nations focused emergency management provider supporting the evacuation. On social media, it said it's already helped 100 residents and is helping to coordinate services for those continuing to arrive. Influenza A is becoming a problem in Timmins. The local ER says it's seeing an influx of patients. In fact, many that sick that they have to be admitted. CTV's Lydia Chubak reports.
How are you feeling right now?
Right, not the greatest.
Emergency physicians in Timmins are seeing more people presenting with respiratory viral infections. They say the increase began over the Christmas and New Year holidays.
Influenza A, I've never seen it in recent years. And the reason it's become challenging is a lot of patients coming in with influenza A are actually quite ill and they're being admitted to the hospital.
Harper says there are not enough beds to care for all these patients.
For example, when I left my shift last night, more than 50% of the beds in the emergency department were occupied by admitted patients. And what that means is we now can't bring in other patients from the waiting room to assess them as quickly as we typically can. And what happens with that is our wait times tend to go up.
And Harper says when people have to wait, they get frustrated.
We get too much yelling and patients picking up the phone and thinking that it's our fault. And I just don't think it's fair to, the nurses and the ward clerks and the physicians that are just working so hard.
If people are unsure if they should go to the emergency room with flu symptoms, the hospital's website under Emergency Department has a list of clinics, including virtual care options.
You should not have a fever for longer than 5 days. If you do, you should be seen by a healthcare practitioner. If you're having a difficult time breathing at home, if you're having chest pain, if you're vomiting or having so much diarrhea that you feel that you're dehydrated, that requires an assessment for sure. And we're always happy to see patients for that.
Another piece of advice from the ER is to remember that influenza A is not a bacterial infection and cannot be treated with antibiotics. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
Timmins area school bus cancellations continued today, but schools were open. Northeast Tri-Board Student Transportation issuing a statement this morning saying school bus routes will reopen on an individual basis day by day based on road safety conditions. Parents are told to visit the website for cancellation notices and can sign up for email notifications. Meanwhile, Transport Scolaire Timmins says some routes will reopen tomorrow. Meanwhile, the city of Timmins posting this video late this afternoon of what it says is a snow removal crew in its natural habitat. According to the post, it takes 70 seconds to fill one truck, and yesterday crews removed another 678 loads of snow. Snow removal like this is expected to continue for the next few weeks. A stinky problem involving the Parry Sound High School appears to have been resolved. Near North District School Board announcing tonight that the custodial staff have cleaned and disinfected the impacted areas of the school. It was unexpectedly closed today due to what the school says was a blockage in the town sewer line, which in turn caused a backup into the school. Board officials say Parry Sound High will be back to business Friday morning. The school has been under a lot of scrutiny after board officials failed to complete the new facility for the start of the year. In Toronto today, one of Ontario Northland's new passenger rail trains was unveiled. The service was canceled nearly 14 years ago, but as CTV's Eric Tashner tells us, the Ford government says it's a step closer to fulfilling a promise it made to Northerners.
Folks, look at that beautiful train.
The first of 3 train sets on the tracks, ready to move ahead.
The Northlander is more than a train. It's a lifeline to jobs, education, family and friends, and so much more.
The train will undergo testing in Toronto before moving north to ensure all systems function and meet safety and performance standards before launching sometime this year.
Additional amenities, additional leg and foot room.
The Northlander will make the 740-kilometer journey between Toronto and Timmins with a rail connection to Cochrane and stops along the way.
My youngest is currently a student at York University, and the difference is that when he comes home to the north now using the bus, when he gets to North Bay, his travel ends there, and we have to go from Kirkland Lake, our hometown, to North Bay to get him.
The Northlander was parked in 2012 by the previous Liberal government due to high operating costs and stagnant ridership. To ensure this doesn't happen again, Ontario Northland is trying to get the schedule right.
And I think that that's going to
really draw people to be able to use it.
And has a pricing strategy for review before the Ministry of Transportation.
We have the benefit of operating transportation services by bus and by passenger rail in the north for decades. We also collaborate with our industry partners, just like Via Rail, where we are today, to understand what the current market is.
Before passenger rail service resumes, there have been a series of provincial infrastructure investments to reconstruct train platforms, install new shelters, and make upgrades to the warning system.
You know, it's time to start thinking ahead and thinking how we can service all the communities, both east and west.
And while there is great excitement for the Northlanders' return,
it connects our province from north to south and creates economic opportunity.
There is still a lot of work to do before it's all aboard. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
And in an interview earlier tonight with CTV News, Nipissing MPP Vic Fideli was asked about the rail service returning to the north and if he knew when it would be operational.
Yeah, they're going to be doing some of the testing in Toronto for a couple of months. Then they'll come up north into North Bay and be here for to be stationed here, do more testing. They'll do the complete testing up the track now. So we'll see the Northlander get into service sometime this year.
That's good news. So time now for a short break here on CTV News. Coming up, Rick will have your full weather forecast. For now, we'll look at the weather warnings we have in place tonight. And at last check, we still had about 1,800 customers in Sault Ste. Marie without power. The area in yellow is a rainfall warning. Rainfall expected through Friday. The frozen ground not really helping with absorbing all the water. Total rainfall amounts could be 20 to 40 millimeters. The area in gray is a special weather statement. Areas around Manitoulin Island, North Bay could see 10 to 20 millimeters. Highway 144 to Timiskaming Shores, 20 to 30 millimeters. And you're going to see snow the further north you get, including it around Iroquois Falls, Timmins, Chapleau, and Hearst. Let's move over to current conditions, and we have some fog. It is a foggy night out there. The airport says in Sudbury that it's mist, but I took a look outside. It looks more like fog. Fog in Kapuskasing. We see some sleet and precipitation. More details in a moment.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Here we go with an interesting forecast for late this evening, overnight, and into tomorrow. Some nice transition between rain and snow, and it'll get colder. Talk about a transition. This is the system that's going to affect the Northeast. More snow to the north, more rain to the south, especially along the Highway 17 corridor. Flood warnings in North Bay, Sault Ste. Marie, and in Sudbury. Then the snow by about Saturday. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Your amounts overnight in Sudbury, 5 to 10 millimeters. In Sault Ste. Marie, 15 to 25. Timmins, 5 to 10. Timiskaming Shores, 5 millimeters. And drizzle rain in North Bay. Elsewhere, rain and snow mix in Moosonee, 2 to 4 centimeters in Kapuskasing. That's snow, by the way. Wawa, 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. Millimeters, here we go with rain. Gore Bay, 10 millimeters and 5 millimeters in Parry Sound. 7-day numbers, Sudbury Nickel Belt, rain tomorrow, 10 to 20 millimeters, a few centimeters of snow in the transition. High of 6, chance of snow Saturday, chance of snow on Sunday, Monday, chance of flurries, and again, the chance of flurries. Take a look at some of those temperatures by Wednesday of next week, colder, minus 11. Continuing right now in Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, rain for tomorrow, 5 to 10 millimeters, high of 1, chance of snow Saturday, chance of snow Sunday, chance of flurries Monday. More of the same on Tuesday, and then some sun and cloud as things start to settle down, but it will be colder with a high of minus 8. How about Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing? Rain tomorrow, 10 to 15 millimeters, then 5 to 10 centimeters of snow, high of plus 1. Some cloud cover Saturday, chance of snow Sunday. Monday, chance of flurries. More of the same on Tuesday. And Wednesday, we've got some sun and cloud, a high of only minus 15 on the transition. Timiskaming Shores, Kirkland Lake, rain tomorrow, And the snow mix as well, 10 to 20 millimeters of rain. Saturday, some cloud cover. Sunday, chance of snow, chance of flurries Monday, and more of the same Tuesday. Sun and cloud Wednesday next week with a high of -15. And North Bay, West Nipissing, rain tomorrow, 10 to 20 millimeters, high of 7, -3 Saturday with the clouds. Sunday, chance of snow, chance of flurries Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, some sun and cloud with a high of only -10. Get ready, Ian. Nice transition coming up for tomorrow between precipitation and the snow, and it also gets colder. Back to you.
I'll take the warm. Thanks so much, Rick. Well, the battle over Ontario Place will now extend to Ottawa. The Supreme Court announced today it will hear a constitutional challenge over the legislation being used by the province to remake the area, something lower courts declined to do. CTV's Siobhan Morris reports.
With the overhaul of Ontario Place pushing on, a new wrinkle far from the water's edge. The Supreme Court of Canada will hear a constitutional challenge of the Ford government bill that makes the makeover possible.
It eliminates virtually every civil or citizen or business remedy that could be brought against the government.
This comes from a group called Ontario Place Protectors. Their lawyer also argues the 2023 Rebuilding Ontario Place Act is a breach of public trust.
Because it takes away all of the environmental and heritage protections.
Two lower courts declined to dig into this case.
I don't even know why they're going to the Supreme Court. I think it's a bunch of crazy lefties that want to protect one tree or two trees or three birds.
The Premier is excited about a transformed waterfront with a controversial spa and water park, trails, public spaces, a new year-round concert space and parking garage.
We're building the most spectacular destination anywhere in the country, if not North America.
Doug Ford calls these still under wraps designs for a new science center at Ontario Place out of this world, hinting.
And then we have some other plans that we're going to do as well.
Through Bill 5, the government can get around laws that may get in the way of development of things like mines or new highways. Gillespie says the Supreme Court's decision could have far-reaching consequences.
To send a message to governments right across Canada that this type of legislative action isn't permissible.
We don't know exactly when the Supreme Court will hear this case, but Gillespie anticipates it'll be sometime in the next 8 to 10 months. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
There are more than 50 outdoor rinks in Greater Sudbury which rely on volunteers. Right now, the city says there are 11 locations that have only a few or none at all. So officials are calling on the public to help. CTV's Lindsay Alick has more.
From Rosemarie, located on Gary Avenue in New Sudbury, to Central Lane Outdoor Rink, located behind the Garson Library. City officials say they are looking for volunteers age 14 and up to help out with these 11 locations across the city.
We rely heavily on volunteers to build and maintain the rink, and then we supplement that with staffing. So we hire part-time staff to help with opening the field houses, being available for bathrooms and cleaning. They assist with ice making, but that's not their main purpose.
Jim Neesing grew up in the neighborhood near Westmount Park and has been living in the area ever since. He says he got involved in volunteering at the outdoor rink over 2 decades ago.
When my kids got involved in hockey and ringette, we decided, we had time to give back to the community, all the ice time and everything we enjoyed here, so decided to get out here and do something good for the neighborhood.
Neesing says the park has a group of dedicated volunteers that are here every day, making sure the ice is ready for when the kids get off school. On average, he says this rink sees 20 to 30 people a day.
It's just great to come out here at nighttime, see the amount of kids that are out here, the smiles on their face, the great volunteers we have here in the community and all that, so it's really rewarding that way.
Whether you're a high school student looking to complete volunteer hours or retired and looking to stay active, officials say over 200 volunteers make rinks like this possible, but they need more.
It's really good to get out. You're getting some exercise, getting to meet other people in the community, and just making friends out there. And we need the volunteers. I mean, that's what keeps it going.
In total, there are 56 outdoor rink locations across the city. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
Lacing up for a major milestone, a Sudbury staple is back on the ice this month. The Miners for Cancer Allen Epps Memorial Hockey Tournament is gearing up to celebrate its 30th anniversary. Organized by nonprofit group Miners for Cancer, more than $1 million has been raised for Northern Ontario families of children with cancer through various tournaments. There will be 28 teams, live entertainment, and new this year, a children's mini sticks tournament.
Our group has put in a children's mini stick tournament. So that tournament will happen Saturday during the day. Ages 4 and 5 will be one division, and then 6 to 10 for the other division. And registration is available online.
The tournament runs January 22nd to the 25th at the Walden Arena. Still ahead tonight on CTV News. It was a wild night for hockey fans out in North Bay as the Troops took on the East Conference leading Ottawa 67s. More on that after this. Canadian Airlines pulled back in a big way from the U.S. over the past year and boosted flight volumes elsewhere. Figures from aviation data firm Cirium show carriers increased service to the Caribbean and South America, with Air Canada up 20% and WestJet up 81% year over year. Experts say political tensions and U.S. trade policies have dampened Canadian demand for U.S. travel, forcing airlines to compete more heavily in other markets. Airlines show no signs of a rebound, with schedules indicating a further 15% drop in cross-border flights early this year. Well, it was a great night for hockey out in North Bay as the Battalion played host to the Eastern Conference leading Ottawa 67s. A lot of nail-biters, including this moment.
Here's Petrie, Amadovsky, and he's upended. Puck at the side of the net. Federhoff kept it out.
Some pressure there from our hometown boys late into the second as Caden Petrie and Liram Amadovsky look to find the back of the net. They might not have been able to do it here, but North Bay would go on to score 2 more times before the end of the match. The Gateway City takes this one, sending Ottawa packing with a 4-2 loss. And it was a whopper of a game down at the Countryside Arena over in the NOJHL. The Sudbury Cubs took on the Powassan Voodoo and beat the visiting team at 9-2. Some Canadian star power is joining the cast of Titanique as the Celine Dion parody musical sails to Broadway. The musical follows the plot of the movie Titanic, but with the twist that Celine Dion herself is the narrator. Titanique has had hit runs off Broadway here in Toronto and on London's West End, and it confirmed last month it's headed to Broadway. Creator and star Marla Mindell will be joined by a few familiar faces, including new cast members Jim Parsons and Canadian Music Hall of Famer Deborah Cox. Previews begin March 26th. In Sudbury, an Ontario Trillium Foundation announcement for programming to help African families gain a sense of belonging. As CTV's Elena Everson explains, it's $300,000 to establish the Village Square program.
36-year-old Mary Akumu emigrated from Uganda in 2023. She is raising 2 boys and welcomes the opportunity to take part in Village Square, a culturally grounded program designed to help families with belonging.
Being immigrants and black, there's so much going on that sometimes we need a space that we can speak freely, and then we digest things that is affecting us in order for us to come with a solution. So that is going to help us a lot.
I think it was really interesting hearing from Mary and the impact it had for herself, right? She shared her story being a single mom, coming to a new country, a new city, dealing with all the challenges we have as parents, but being feeling sort of alone and having that community come together and be able to share culture and food and community. I think that's the real value of this.
Village Square programming has 3 components: parenting workshops, community cooking classes, and healing circles for Black parents, guardians, and caregivers.
Building that village that supports them and their children as they rebuild their lives in Canada as immigrants or newcomers and families of African heritage. Our program will offer connection, belonging, a safe space for people to come together to learn, grow, and heal as they navigate their life in Canada.
Spark Employment is the organizational mentor for thriving African families.
With Spark Employment Services, almost 40 years of experience, our role is to bring that experience to a grassroots organization. Our role is to provide them with the structure, the governance, the education, the lived experience that we have had.
The Village Square program is the first of its kind in Northern Ontario. Officials with thriving African families say the Black population in Sudbury has substantially increased over the past 5 years. Alana Everson, CTV News.
That takes us to the end of our newscast this Thursday night. For the latest news anytime, remember you can head to our website, ctvnewsnorthernontario.ca. You can also download our CTV News app. Thanks for watching. Good night.